Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, we've had the drama of Trump actually testifying today. Um, I'll throw on that one. Yeah, let's just throw on that one to find out the energies on Donald Trump and testifying and everything like that. I honestly didn't think he would. I knew he wanted to. And the reason why he wanted to is he wanted to go off and basically say, I didn't know this woman, blah, 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 blah. And the judge, before the jury was allowed back in, instructed his lawyer, Alina Habba, quite clearly what were the questions she was going to ask and what answers were going to be out of bounds. And Trump tried to, the judge shot down some of the questions. Alina Habba was limited to like 2 questions. And when Trump tried to go off on a tangent answering those questions, they were yes or no questions. The judge stopped him, struck the record, and said his answer is yes. He please ignore everything after that. You know, Trump didn't get much more than 2/3 of a sentence past where he was supposed to go. So, what do you know? You have a judge that can set a boundary and then hold Trump to it. So, first question. Let's look at the energy around the E Jean Carroll trial, and then the next question I want to ask is, I want to know from the Trump supporters in the courtroom, either in the jury, in the court, or watching it on TV, if they were disappointed, because Trump's out there blasting all this stuff about E Jean Carroll. And then when he goes in court, he answers 2 questions. 2 questions, yes or no, and that's it. All the bluster, all the posturing, there was nothing to show for it. And it's going to be something that you're going to see more and more as judges have learned how to rein him in. You can just imagine for like the January 6th case or the Lago documents case, or the RICO case, where they're going to want Donald Trump to fight, and just really take it to the corrupt Justice Department, and he's there pleading the fifth, or whatever he ends up doing in those criminal cases, and he can't go off on his tangents because he's under oath, and then he's going to be up there for perjury too. So, anyways, come on down, E Jean Carroll. Hopefully, this will be like the second to last reading, with the next one being the results. Energy around the E Jean Carroll case today, for entertainment purposes only. Okay, we have agreements. Relationships, agreements, crossed by the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, and the Empress underneath it. Okay, so you've got both the plaintiff and the defendant in the court case. The judge ruled over it. This case is now with the jury. So it can almost like here they're handing the case off to the jury. And now it's for the jury to decide the Wheel of Fortune, how much of the fortune that happens. Underneath all is the Empress. This is going to be about the rape and defamation of E Jean Carroll. Now, she's already been raped, and that judgment's already been done. But because she was shown to have been sexually assaulted, I believe is a legal term that they used in New York, she automatically won this case, which means she's automatically going to get a settlement. Now, that settlement could be $0. It could be much more than that. She was asking for $10 or $12 million to repair her image, and she had an expert testify on that. And that does not include punitive damages. So you're looking at probably something at a minimum. If she gets her $10 million, I suspect she will get at least another $10 million in punitive. So at the very minimum, I would expect she's going to get a $20 million settlement. But I think $10 million in punitive will not be the message the jury sends. I suspect that the jury would send a larger amount. But this is what we got going on right now. Energy, energy, energy. In the past is the hanged man. Trump did this to himself because he did not testify in the other trial. That was one of the questions asked is, did you attend the other trial? And the answer was no. And so he did this to himself. First off, you shouldn't be raping women. Yeah, that should go without saying, but apparently we need to say it. The next best thing is, then don't go around defaming them. Just put your tail between your legs and just shut up. But third, when you do have your day in court, you chose not to go. And you made a big to-do saying you were going to go. So he's trying to throw Takapina under the bus in his testimony today, but he did it to himself. Ace of Swords. This case is over. It's to the jury. Justice is about to be served in this case. The jury has all the information they need. Closing arguments happen on Friday, and then the case gets turned over to the jury. My previous reading showed that the jury was going to rule quickly. We'll see if that's still in play here. So Ace of Swords. Justice is the sword of justice. The overarching energy is the Nine of Cups. I think this is the judge sitting in front of the jury. I think there are 9 jury members. It's judge in front of the jury. This is the unified front. This is the powerful judge, the jurors behind him in this court of law, making sure the truth was told between the plaintiff and the defendant. No funny business. The lesson to be learned, justice. I think for the first time we actually saw a court case where Donald Trump is going to face justice. And he's not going to get to be all crazy and do crazy stuff. Sword of justice is here. A powerful judge with a jury behind him and the justice card. Outcome is the Page of Swords. It's going to be the messaging. What do we have with the messaging? Pages are about messages. Swords are about skills. And learning your skills. Getting, trying things out, trying different things. I guess you could say it's kind of a novel case because how many ex-presidents have been accused of rape and convicted and convicted of defamation twice against their rape victim? It was, you got the Ace of Swords here, and now you've got the page wielding that Ace of Swords. You've got, it's like new justice. It's like a new justice is growing here. Justice is starting to grow. Here's your justice card. And this is justice starting to grow, and it's young. And we've got more cases to come. In watching the Midas Touch today, I was watching part of the podcast between Ben Meisalas and Michael Cohen. And they were pointing out that in this trial, the jury gets the case on Monday. Within like a 3-day period, Donald Trump, or certainly by next week, but in like a 3-day period, Donald Trump may get this case, however many millions he's going to find out he owes E. Jean Carroll. Judge Engoron should be ruling on how much money he owes the state of New York. And one of the things they pointed out in the podcast was whatever number they come up with, there's going to be interest for late payments on that, which could double it. So if Fani Willis gets her $320 million, that could be doubled to $640 million. And then the D.C. Court of Appeals, which hasn't released its ruling yet, should be ruling on his absolute immunity, which the answer is expected that he's not going to get his absolute immunity. So this could be just a really, really bad, horrible, no good, terrible week for Donald Trump next week. All right. The Trumpers. How are the Trumpers feeling about Donald Trump's performance and this overall case? How are the Trumpers feeling about this? Are they concerned about his lack of, because he built all this up. He built up how he was, I'm going to testify in my defense and blah, blah, blah. 2 questions. 2 questions. Yes or no questions. Go in roaring like a lion. Leave meeping like a lamb. King of Pentacles. This is Donald Trump saying, I'm this wealthy, powerful man. I'm going to I'm gonna show you, and that's the other thing. They were playing his deposition, saying how wealthy he was, how all the billions that he had. So the jury should have no problem awarding a large sum because Trump says Mar-a-Lago's worth like 1.5 billion and the Doral's worth like 3 billion. Now his net worth's got to be like $10 billion. So what's $100 million to a $10 billion area? You know, it's like a tenth of a percent. What's that going to be crossed with? The Eight of Swords. They're looking at Trump and oh God. I was going to say, is that E Jean Carroll? No, they're watching Trump act like a victim. Instead of the powerful king who's wealthy, they're starting to see him as just this whiny victim that everything was done to him. And his emotional breakdowns. He can't, you know, he was talking a lot of smack, but he's lying down like a lamb. In the past, you know, they believed the Trump rhetoric that he and he alone could save them. You know, he was their savior. He's this wealthy man. He's going to raise them up from the mud and make them all happy and make America great again. But in this rape trial, you know, they might be getting the news that on one hand he says he's wealthy, but on the other hand he says he's poor. So which one is it? They're getting confused. Let's just say it that way. They're starting to get the message that they're confused a little bit about, is he wealthy or not? Because he says both. Current situation of the lovers, they're willing to forgive Donald Trump. You know, he helps them out for whatever they think helping out is. And they've been supportive of him. And they love him. And they adore him. And they want the best for him. But there's that emotion. Now, they have really strong emotions for Donald Trump. But again, you know, his emotions are on his sleeve. And he's just melting down all the time. He's got a lot of passion. That's for sure. But somebody's got to just keep hammering us. Then why is he acting like such a victim? You know, which is he? Is he the powerful king, wealthy, or is he a victim? Which one is he? All these cards have dichotomies, right? You know, powerful king, victim. Is he wealthy or is he poor? Is he a man or woman? is he alive or dead? Oh, God, of course. It's like I couldn't find the dichotomy here because here's the dichotomous card. Notice anything familiar about those two cards? What they thought he was their angel and savior. What they're starting to understand is that he's a liar. And he's false. Not all of them. Some of them are starting to get the message. And it's a betrayal. No, he's supposed to be this strong fighter, passionate. But he's not a strong fighter who's passionate. He's a whiny little bitch. And they're not going to understand why he didn't defend himself. You know, he's supposed to be the second coming of Christ, or more than that. You know, God put Donald Trump on earth to save us from Joe Biden and the evil Democrats. Yet he can't even save himself. 2 sentences. It's like they start it's like when you get the thing in, as seen on TV, you get it at home and you realize that thing that you thought was super awesome is just a cheap piece of garbage. And they might, not all of them, probably not many of them, but this is going to be one of those things that erodes his brand because he sells himself as this strong man. And he's not. He also sells himself as being really wealthy. And he's not. I mean, he's got wealth. Don't get me wrong. He's got way more wealth than I've got. But he's about to cough it all up. And I'm sure they're going to be wondering, wait, if he sells Mar-a-Lago, how come he said it was worth $1.5 billion and he sold it for $30 million? I don't get it. Why did he, if he's such a great real estate tycoon, how come he sold it for $30 million when it's worth, 20 times that, or no, not even 20, 40 times that amount? It doesn't seem like such a brilliant real estate tycoon. You know what I mean? Oh, they could keep fooling themselves, but at some point they have to just give it a rest. All right. This case goes to the jury tomorrow. How's the jury looking at this case? How are they going to rule on it? Okay, they're looking at the victims. Which victim? There's 2 victims in that court, right? And the judge. I think in this case, they're going to look at what was done to Ms. Carroll, how Donald Trump acts. He's acting like he's the one who's been raped. He's the one who's been victimized. And I don't think they're going to be very kind about that. You know, it's you sexually assaulted this woman, yet you're acting like the victim. And there's your Wheel of Fortune card. So, yeah, here comes the big wheel as it was spinning out. I kind of like how these cards are lining up. In the past, we got the Queen of Wands. I think they're also going to look at the lawyers and how the lawyers presented the data. They're going to look at Ms. Carroll and what she's done with her life. She's going to look how they're going to look at Alina Habba and how Alina Habba just didn't seem to know what she was doing. One side is going to look very professional. The other side's going to look like a bunch of hacks and buffoons. And the jury's now they've been watching this whole thing unwind right in front of them. On Friday, the case is handed to them, and they have to send a message about the money. So normally I would say Page of Pentacles is a small message, but in this case, the page is the message, the coin is the money. So they get this on Friday. And now they have to decide how much money is going to happen. Overarching energy. One of the big questions that's been asked, and I love the question, is what's it gonna take to make him stop? They're the stars of the show. Donald Trump is the star of the show. E Jean Carroll is the star of the show. They're looking at the stars of this show, and they're going to look to find out. Okay, so the star card is the calm after the storm. This feeds into that question of how much money does it take for the storm to go away and there to be calm again? And maybe this woman could start to rebuild her life. Yeah, there's that Lover's card again. The lesson to be learned is the Lover's card. This was not consensual between these people. This man forced himself on her. And I believe the jury is very sympathetic towards her. She's showing up twice now. Victim, calm. And what do we do to make this right? What can we do to help this person and make it right? The outcome is the 5 of coins. Again, here's the Wheel of Fortune. Leaving out in the cold. And kind of like, you could, if you were a very pro-Trump person in this one, you could say, she gets nothing. These guys are destitute. I don't see it that way. I think what I see is this is the result of this. We need to they're going to send a message about they're going to leave him out in the cold, literally. They are going to hit him with a big fine. I wouldn't be surprised if it's $50 million, to be honest. I would not be surprised. I do think $20 million is probably the minimum that she would get. I could see her getting $10 million that she was asking for, and then, they'll give her another $10 million as punitive. But I think punitive, they can go a lot higher than that. I don't know if there's a limit or if there's a guidance. That's going to be it for them to decide. But I could see them rounding that up to $50 million quite easily. Let's see. Spirit, can you give me a number? I don't know how I'm going to do this with tarot cards. But Spirit, how about a number? What's going to be the likely amount? I got a 7. 70 million? Here's your 10. It's like the 10 million plus 6. and a 6. I'm going to say it's between 60 and $70 million. That's going to be my guess. Now you got if we give 70 million, he's going to go away and leave her alone. I think it's going to be something like that. So that would be above the 50 million that I'm guessing. To me, if I were in the jury, I would just say, okay, well, let's back of the envelope after his deposition. Let's back of the envelope how much money he says he's worth, and we'll give her 1% of that. So if he's worth $1 million, 1% would be 10,000. And if he's worth $1 billion, that 10,000 is actually $1 million. If he's worth $10 billion, that 10 million would be 100 million. Seems reasonable. It may not be that much. It's going to be a lot, though, and he's not going to be happy. And we will see. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching this video and supporting my channel. I do appreciate it. Thank you for your likes and your shares and everything you do to help support this channel. It's been a lot of readings on this case, but it just seems like it's a very important one. Attacking Donald Trump and taking his money, basically holding him to account and financially penalizing him for it, is going to be extremely powerful against him because he doesn't have the ability to earn a living. He's not the real estate tycoon, and Russia's can't really funnel money to him, and at some point his base is going to be tired throwing money at him for all his legal fees. They're going to run out themselves. So that's why I keep hitting this case over and over again. Again, thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for feeding the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it out to a wider audience. For folks just recently discovering this channel, welcome. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.